we are here. I hope everybody had a good week. Happy Saturday. Let me try to tilt this down a bit. Hey Bubbles, hey Dario, can you guys hear me okay? I hope everybody had a good week. I'm just gonna give everybody a heads up. I have a horrible sinus infection. My face has been like every morning when I wake up so swollen that my eyes are like this, and the medicine that I have to take right now for it makes me so nauseous. So if I do abruptly have to end the live, hopefully I don't, fingers crossed, but just in case, if I don't get to any of the people that we're supposed to look at today, I will do it in a separate video this week. So thank you, Bubbles. Hey, Lindsay. Hey, Donna. We made it to 6,000 subs, guys. Thank you so much. None of that would be possible without you guys, and I wouldn't still be uploading and doing all of this if it wasn't for you guys. I swear on everything, like when I first started this, it was because my friend kept begging me to do it, and then she passed away, and so I started doing it in her honor, and I just thought like, oh, if 100 people subscribe or watch my videos, like that would be like such a big deal. So 6,000 is like so humbling. And I've gotten to connect with so many of you and make so many new friends and get to know people all over the world. And so it has been such a big blessing. And as always, I'm always going to say thank you to my beautiful angel in heaven, Maritza, for pushing me to do this. And thank you to all of you guys for being here, because we did it. Oh my gosh, it's hay fever season, and I always get hay fever, but this time like I got a sinus infection, and it's like the worst one I've ever had. It's crazy. My teeth hurt so bad from all the swelling that like I've been like eating like applesauce and trying to sip soup and things like that because I can't even chew right now. So hey Lorna, how are you? I hope everybody's good. Yes, thank you, Lindsay. So, and just again, a heads up, we're not talking about how any of these people passed away. This is focusing on their love lives. I've actually covered the why, the how, the who in my Patreon, and there is, I think, 3 Aaliyah videos up on my channel too that somewhat cover what happened to her, but the rest of that is on the Patreon. I did, as a thank you, lower the price on it for anybody who does want to join. It's patreon.com/psychicbellalove. Oh my gosh, listen, again, if y'all like the Beyonce house music album, by all means, that's your perspective. I'm just more into like different kinds of house music. Like I feel like I'm used to like Alone, you know, the Kim Petras song that she sampled, and those types of house music, maybe more like the 90s, early 2000s house. And I was never really into that song anyways. I heard the remix and I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, and then also just a heads up, guys, YouTube is on live has been glitchy for a lot of people, not just me. So if it does buffer or anything, I have no control over that. We're in the post shadow phase of Mercury retrograde. Maybe that's what's going on, but Just bear with me if it does it, because when I tried to go live on Patreon the other day, it kept booting us off. And then I was so stressed out about it, but then I saw that plenty of other people who went live that day had the same problem, so it was like it wasn't just me, thank God. So no, I didn't see that. Is that Pop Tings? Is that on Instagram? I don't have Twitter. Every time I've ever opened a Twitter account, I get locked out of it, and I'm like, you know what? The universe is just telling me Twitter is not the place for me. I did see, if you guys didn't see, Facebook, Meta, whatever you want to call it, is supposed to, at some point, I guess maybe like July, I think, roll out their own version of Twitter. Are you guys gonna use it if they do? So, but I'll have to look up that account and see what they said. I didn't see that. I was on the phone with clients literally all morning, and well, I've been out all week, but okay. Well, that's cool. I would be interested, I'll be honest, I would be way more interested in a Rihanna and Nicki collaboration. I don't know, I always liked Rihanna's music more than Beyonce's. So, Kendrick wants to work with Doja. I could see Kendrick and Doja together on a track. This is the thing about Kendrick. He's, you know, he is a really good rapper, but it has to be the right song, because he has such a unique voice and cadence. I'm trying to think of how to like properly say it, that if it's not the right song, sometimes it's like almost like he's so distracting on it, if that makes sense. So, I don't know. Hey, Amanda. Hey, Princess. Hey, Hannah. So, because I don't know, like, it just kind of seems like I did listen to the America Has a Problem remix, thinking maybe I will like it if Kendrick is on it, but I don't know. It's like his voice just took over the whole song. So, hey, Sana. I didn't like the song they did together previously. Oh, I loved Fly. That's actually like one of my favorite songs that both Nicki and Rihanna have done. I came to win, to fight, to prosper, survive. Like, that was like actually one of my favorite songs from them. I was actually just listening to it the other day. Hey, Raquea, how are you, babe? I would rather see J. Cole collab with Nicki. So, I love J. Cole. Beautiful gowns. Okay, let me know, guys, in the chat, which would you prefer? A Nicki and Rihanna collab or a Beyonce and Nicki collab? I want to see what you guys have to say about that. Yes, I saw the Lil Kim XXL magazine spread. That was interesting. I was just like, girl, why did they got you all like tied up in all them like weird thin rubber strap things? That was just odd. I'm just excited to see what you guys are gonna say. I haven't seen anybody say Beyonce yet. No, I said Rihanna or Beyonce. Saying you're confused. Caribbean girls rented, ask Riri. I would love if Nicki and Rihanna do have a song together for it to have more of that island girl vibe to it, kind of like the songs that she did with like Skang and Skilly Bang. Like that would be really cool, just to have something like not the typical normal pop, hip hop, whatever, you know, American style music. That's what I would love, especially because people were saying that, you know, supposedly Rihanna's album that we've been waiting 158,000 years for is supposed to be more reggae influenced. Like that would be really cool because, you know, not both of them are island girls, so to have that Caribbean sound I think would be really, really cool. Or West Indian, I should say, not Caribbean. Because regardless, because this is the thing, if either one of them does like a song like that with somebody else, like I'm sure like it'll chart anyways. But I think that, you know, both of them together on a track, like it's gonna blow up anyways. But especially, you know, just having something different would be really, really cool. Well, that's the thing. I saw somebody listing, Bubbles, all the new girls that have dropped albums before Carlos. Like somebody, I forget, but they like literally named like all of these girls. They're like, and they included like EPs and how many singles that they've even dropped in between albums. And it was so many newer girls like Koi. And they were like, what in the heck is Carlos's excuse? Because especially like when you look at Koi, that album that she dropped, what was it, last year? It didn't make a whole bunch of noise and it didn't chart super high. So for her to already be turning around and putting out a sophomore album versus somebody that supposedly went triple, quadruple platinum to the moon and back 100 million times with their first album. Like, why wouldn't you have already, like, if you're, you know, again, if you're Miss, I won a Grammy and my music is so good and I stay in the top 10 and all the shit that she was claiming, wouldn't you want to capitalize off of that and have put out like 3 or 4 albums at this point? Because remember back in the day, I mean, if we want to talk about Rihanna, like she can afford to like take her sweet ass time to put out another album, because back when Rihanna first came out, she was like literally back to back, like put out an album tour. As soon as the tour ends, she's got another album dropping, going on another tour for like 7 years straight. Like that girl worked her butt off. And that's why I've always kind of been like, she probably, you know, even beyond the whole disappointment of how the anti situation happens, she probably was just hella overworked and burnt out. But she did the damn thing. And so that's why I was like, she can afford to take 6 years, however long between albums. Carlos, you didn't even go on a damn tour. You dropped the album, let Atlantic buy you a bunch of awards and placements on the charts, and then just sat at home, and every time that they expected you to go on tour, you got pregnant, so you didn't have to. And did you guys see that Summer Jam still has tickets available? It has not sold out, even in the smaller venue. And then this is the thing, that's why so many of these people love doing tours, or not tours, festivals, and these types of, there's a bunch of people performing concerts, because you're guaranteed that you're going to have a sold out show and a big audience, because there's 28 people on the roster. So if everybody isn't even there for you, there's still a big crowd for you to hopefully capture that audience. It looks good on, videos and social media that there was, 40,000 deep watching you. So the fact that she hasn't even sold that out, which also, that whole thing is celebrating 50 years of hip hop, and the only like real legendary hip hop artist that you have on there is the Lox. I mean, nothing against the new girls that are on there, like Lola and Ice Spice and Glorilla. Like, I mean, yeah, totally, like, let them come open. But at the same time, shouldn't you have some bigger names? Shouldn't you have Wu-Tang Clan? Shouldn't you have LL Cool J? Shouldn't you have the people that, like, made hip-hop? Like, at least a few more of them. Like, the Lox is the biggest one, or the, like, most longest running group. And then Carlos did not contribute anything to the history of hip-hop other than the dumbing down of it that we're at right now. So, but she still didn't, she didn't sell out that crowd. Let me see. Oh, hey, Motivated Queen. Hey, Big Barbie. Hey, Lorna. Hey, Ayana. Hi, Hondro. Exactly. Ja Rule, 50 Cent. That would have made sense. Like, there's gotta be some, but we need people that really, because when you think about it, like, the 80s, especially, there's still people that were big in the 80s. They're the ones that broke that glass ceiling and made hip hop what it is. The early 90s, you couldn't get any of them, because they're the ones that should really be celebrated, because we wouldn't even have hip hop if it wasn't for them picking up that torch and running with it. What about anybody from Run DMC? What about even just to have them come out and rap one verse or something, like something. I mean, I wouldn't want to go to a show that's being touted as celebrating 50 years in hip hop and it's a bunch of new people, Carlos and the Lox. And was French Montana a part of it? Because I heard people saying that, but I haven't seen him on any of the posters that people keep putting up. So, hey, Kenneth. Exactly. Where's Foxy? Where's Lil Kim? I mean, say what you want about her, but she did contribute. And again, we wouldn't have people like Carlos if Lil Kim hadn't walked so they could run. So MC like Queen Latifah, LL Cool J, exactly. That's why I was just like, this doesn't make any sense. So, oh my God. Well, I've seen a lot of people, Tamira, she's saying, what if Yolanda performs last and since she's the headliner and then people walk out? I've seen a lot of people saying that they think that a lot of the tickets that were actually sold were because it was for people like Glorilla and Ice Spice and not because of, and the Lox, but not necessarily because of her or, some of the other people that were on there. You know what? French is just... such a polarizing person when it comes down to it. I mean, he's got some, like, you know, cute little collaborations and features and stuff, but this is the thing where I always use him as an example because this is what annoys me. Like, do you guys ever notice that sometimes when people, and this is why I love Nicki and her versatility, people will put out a song and then whoever gets on the remix and is the featured rapper, their feature has absolutely nothing the F to do with what the song was about. Like, they're talking about breaking up with their boyfriend and he's over there like moving coke. We out in the streets out here, we making checks. It's like, what the hell does that have to do with like this girl crying because her boyfriend left her? And then it's like he just says the same rewritten version of the same thing on like every collaboration. So, and it's just like, French, please come up with something else to like say if you're gonna keep hopping on everybody's songs. And then I just think about, like, if I was the artist, and especially if I wrote that song and I busted my ass to make it, like, wouldn't I be kind of insulted? Like, did you even listen to what my song was about? Or did you just be like, oh, I had a notebook full of verses and I just like ripped one out of the notebook, went into the studio, recorded it and sent it over and I had no idea what the song was actually talking about? So, well, you know what I thought was like messed up? One time I saw like he posted some picture of himself when he was little, and I believe it was his grandma, like she's cockeyed, and he said something like, oh, grandma always tried to keep an eye on me and she couldn't, and people lit his ass up and he deleted it, or like I think he changed the caption first and then he deleted it. Like, why would you drag your own grandma like that? That's so messed up. So I was just like, Jesus Christ, French, like, you're just inappropriate, like, at all times, are you not? Just like when, like, Chinks died and the first thing that he said was, well, I told him to stay out of the streets. Okay, yeah, you should have, but also, like, literally, this man was supposed to be your artist and your best friend. Like, you couldn't have said something different, like, the day after he passed away. So Lauryn has been on time the past 2 years. She's doing better. Listen, and that's the thing, that's what annoys me, when people want to like compare Carlos to Lauryn Hill. It's like, because they'll be like, well, Lauryn Hill, you know, put out one album. First of all, that was a freaking classic ass album. Secondly, she did work with, you know, she did have the Fugees and stuff before that, so it's not like it's the only album that she really truly ever did. It was her only solo album. And she has very real reasons, because she didn't want to have to sell her soul and get dragged into all of the industry bullshit. So she basically left. It's not the same. It's not like she kept promising us constantly, I'm going to put out another album, guys, and bragging about her accomplishments and claiming that she was the best that ever was. Like, she didn't do none of that. So it's an entirely different situation. Who said that? I've seen so many people say that on just in the comments on social media. So she went through a hell of a lot. And when they came to her, because they tried to get her to not have her first baby, the industry, they were pressuring her to sell her soul. They were pressuring her to give up her kid. They were pressuring her to do all these things that were so against, like, you know, the most, let's be honest, unless you are a Carlos, you would not have agreed to do. And she was just like, no, I'm not going to get up there in a thong with my ass out. I'm not having an abortion. I'm not doing any of this shit. So she chose her morals and walked away. Dude, that album is such a masterpiece. It's timeless. So, yeah, it really did. I mean, and it's just crazy because when you think about it, even just like that thing, like fits so well with like it's almost like I want to go make all these girls that are talking about like, oh, just use a guy for his money and show him your ass and all of that kind of stuff. Like, I want to be like, go listen to Lauryn Hill's album. Start with that thing. Because I know y'all have the attention span of birds. And really listen to the lyrics. Don't watch the video. Sit there with the lyrics in front of you and read them. And if you can't read, because I'm sure some of them can't, have somebody read it to you. Because it's so freaking relevant to everything that people are doing now. So, I know. I wish we could get more music from her, but I'm never going to fault her if she doesn't want to because she had such a horrible experience. So, all right, guys. Let's get into it. First and foremost, I'm going to tell you how the giveaways are going to go, and then we will start with, let's start with Biggie first, and then we'll move into Tupac and then do the girls last. For the giveaways, I was going to send stuff to people, but the problem is, since so many of you guys are out of the country, and last time I sent something to somebody just in Canada, it cost like $160 or some crazy amount like that. It was almost $200. And I was just like, if I gotta pay $200 to send stuff to people, and I don't want to leave anybody out, so we'll give away a few different readings. And next time we do a giveaway, we'll do some physical goods because I got to do some research and make sure the things I want to give away, like it's going to be available, like to send it directly from Amazon to different countries. Because while I know that there is Amazon and places like that in different countries, you know, it's either sometimes like the items aren't available or whatever. So I wanted to do it live. So what I'm going to do is, if you get picked, I'm going to have you put your email address so that way I can obviously contact you and send you your reading appointment. And I will write it down and then immediately delete it so the whole world isn't seeing your email address in the chat, okay? So let's start with a giveaway. I know, it was so crazy, and it was just like a freaking bottle of lotion. But, I mean, I didn't pay for the shipping prices myself. The person was, and they wanted it for a specific reason, and they couldn't get it sent to them. So they asked me if they could send it to me, and then I would send it, you know, to them. But holy freaking crap, when I went, I almost had a damn heart attack. I was like, do you still want this? Because, like, the thing that you ordered was less than $20, and it's literally like 10 times as much as what it cost to send it. And they're like, no, I need it. And I was like, oh my God. So, and then because it was like lotion, they were like, oh, we have to send it like ground shipping. I had to go to like 3 different freaking shipping places too, because like a bunch of them were like, oh, well, we don't ship to international, or we don't ship over. I was like, what? Like, I didn't even think it was going to be that big of a deal, but it was. And then the guy told me, oh, Canada's actually cheap. You should see what it's like when people send stuff to like the islands or the UK or whatever. He's like, I've seen people getting charged like $500 to send something, and it's like slow ass 30-day ground shipping. And I was like, I don't know if I will ever ship anything to anybody then, if that's what they're doing. My God. Because people will claim that they're the winner when they were not. That's why I don't do it that way. So, because I tried that one time and I had 15 people email me claiming to be the person that won. And I'm like, I gave away one thing. There is no way in effing heck that 15 of you are the winners. Stop it. So, I know, that's what sucks. I mean, that's why, like, I have, you know, family and friends overseas, and like, we just like order shit from each other's like Amazon in whatever country, you know, and have it sent directly to them, because that's way more affordable. So, yes. So, alrighty. Let's do a giveaway. This is going to be for a 15-minute reading. Pick a number between 1 and 25. Whoever gets it first wins. I already wrote the number down. You can guess as many times as you want, because nobody's gotten it yet. Okay, Ayana got it. Ayana won. Stop. Ayana won. Ayana, put your email address down. Congratulations, you won. It was number 19, if you guys can see that. And we'll do more throughout the rest of the live. Congratulations, Ayana. We were doing giveaways the last 2 days in Patreon, and it was legitimately, no, Ayana, don't email me. Just put up your email address real quick and I'll write it down, and then I'll have the mods delete it. Just because I said people will claim that they're you. But they were cracking me up with some of this stuff, like, because I was making them test their intuition. I put my picture up and I was like, tell me something about myself I've never, like, told anybody. And Sana said I was Batman, and I was, like, cracking up. Okay, so let's get into the love life of Mr. Biggie Smalls. I wore my Tupac shirt today. I do have a Biggie shirt, but no, I'm not Batman. I'm She-Ra. You know those little garden trowels? When I was little, like, me and my cousins used to take our parents and run around the backyard and pretend like they were swords. and wave them around and claim to be like She-Ra and He-Man and everything. So that was that's why I'm always like, I guess if I was ever gonna be a superhero, it would have been She-Ra, because that was the only one that I ever like really pretended to be as a kid. So but what do you call yeah, if you ever buy the like t-shirts at I'm not taking questions yet, babe, hold on a second. If you ever buy the t-shirts that have like all of the celebrities on them at Target, just know they all have a very different fit to them and material. So you probably want to try them on first, because it was just like, oh my God, like I bought like the Biggie shirt and it fits fine everywhere, but it's so freaking tight in the arms, and I got it from the men's section. And I was like, I don't know how a dude that actually has like some muscles on his arms would be able to wear this damn shirt without ripping it like the Hulk. So it's just been sitting in the closet. I need to cut the arms off of it or something. So I was like, we'll just wear the Tupac one because it's comfortable. Oh my gosh. Yeah, well. So anyways, let's start off with, I'm just gonna pull generally on Biggie and Lil Kim's relationship to start. Spirit, what can you tell me about Biggie and Lil Kim? Thank you. And listen, while I know a lot of these people that we're looking at today probably dated more people than we're gonna look at, again, if you missed the first part of this, I have a really bad sinus infection, so I can't be on here all night. So we're gonna keep it to the ones that are the most significant. So for Biggie, it'll be Charlie, Baltimore, Kim, and Faith. So let's see. And I just want to point out to people, because I know everybody wants to always get mad because I say that Kim and Biggie were not soulmates the way that people claim. Your soulmate is not going to marry somebody else while you are dealing with them. Okay? The whole point of a soulmate is that it is a healthy relationship. Karmic partners would be the more apt term, that you have a bunch of past life karma and there's love debts there, so you're going to treat one or the other is going to treat each other like shit in this lifetime until you cut it off to, you know, sort of get you back for a previous life. But your soulmate's not marrying other bitches. He's not knocking other people up. He's not making you abort his baby, but then getting somebody else pregnant. Like, come on. So, and everybody and their grandma should know by now that I always say Biggie was my favorite rapper. Growing up, it was Bone Thugs and Harmony and Biggie were like, I loved them so much. And then once Outkast came along, they were also my faves. And the Wu-Tang Clan. So I did like Tupac, but he wasn't like my absolute favorite. It wasn't until I got older that like I started liking his music more. Although if I could go the rest of my life without hearing California Love, I would take it. Because when you live in California, the way that they play that damn song on repeat all the damn time, you will be tired of it too. So yes, and by By the way, guys, twin flames are not a real thing. Please stop falling for that. Our soul has only ever belonged to us. It may have lived in many different lifetimes and bodies, as in, I might have been a black man, you know, in another lifetime, but my soul has never existed in two bodies and then fell in love with each other. That's like some demonic possession, weird incestual shit. So don't fall for that stuff. And that's always just an excuse from people to keep you stuck in negative patterns and encourage you to stick around in bullshit. So, exactly, Sana. I don't even want to share my food, much less my soul, motherfucker. So, here's the thing. This relationship was even more negative than we're even aware of, is the first thing that's coming up with this, with the underlying energy. We've got the Eight of Cups, we've got the Three of Swords, we've got the Eight of Swords, where, you know, he was constantly playing this game of, I don't want to deal with you anymore, messing around with other women, and she chose to continue to keep him and holding herself hostage emotionally in this situationship, because it never really even was a relationship. Spirit saying there was never a you're my girlfriend, you're my boyfriend. And the way that Big looked at it was just like, that's my artist and I fuck on her sometimes, so to speak. Like, he didn't have any respect for her when it came down to it. And again, as much as I loved Homeboy and his music, he was horrible to the people that he dated. I am a realist. I'm not going to sit here and be like, Biggie was a walking angel and never did anything wrong just because he's my favorite artist. Like, no, the man was a fucking nightmare and a terror to women, okay? Like, we can admit that. And he was extremely selfish. He did whatever the hell he wanted. He wasn't really, like, you know, on the up and up with any of them. But especially Spirit saying Kim did get it the worst, to be honest with you, because he never publicly claimed her. And, you know, in her eyes, she chooses to look at it as, he wanted to mentor me. He wanted to, you know, he just needed to grow up and go through some things. And he was a young guy, and all of a sudden he's got money and women throwing themselves at him in a way that, like, he never experienced before that. But if you listen to any of the, like, interviews of people that were around him and knew him before all of that, he was actually broke as an artist. He was getting more money when he was out in the streets doing drugs and selling them. And he had girls back then too. So it wasn't the lifestyle that changed that made him change, but that's what Kim was using to justify things. And she was trying to tell herself, like, oh, well, because he's mentoring me, because he picked me, he saw something in me that was so special. But on his end of things, it's, I felt like you were marketable and I could make money off of you. Because Spirit's saying, you know, at the end of the day, when it comes to the music industry, it's still a business. So just because somebody puts you on, just because somebody, you know, says, like, oh, like, you're my friend and you can rap and I'm gonna help you get a deal, they're still gonna get a cut off of it. So they're still looking at the financial benefit of it. And especially because Biggie was struggling financially to keep up with the lifestyle that he pretended he was living because his contracts were so bad. He saw Junior Mafia and everybody that he did put on also as a way to recoup income. Like, if I'm not making it off of my music, I'll make it off of them as a group. And then we can go as a package deal to another label and we'll all eat off of that. And not that he was trying to like steal from them, like he wasn't trying to Diddy them, but it was something that he was also looking at as, you know, because I'm putting in the work here, I'm also gonna get paid. So, you know, and he also saw Faith as somebody that he could make into one of his artists too. Same thing with Charlie Baltimore. Like, again, it's not, none of this was exclusive to Kim with this world card in reverse. It was just that she was constantly, you know, sort of reaching because she felt like she was in love with him. However, you know, if she would have really, because this is talking about, if she would have paid attention, because she's showing up as the Queen of Cups, like, I'm just blind to everything emotionally connected to you. I'm not going to, you know, try to see what's really going on. However, if she would have noticed, like, there's always all these other females around, and none of them are, you know, you're not choosing me, because if you were choosing me, we wouldn't always have all these problems with other women. So he didn't look at her the same way that she was looking at him. She was a jump off and a business associate, and it's like, yeah, like at times I would have called her my friend, but Spirit's also saying like he didn't pillow talk with her like that. Like if I was pillow talking with you, it was about, oh, I'm gonna put you and Lil Cease in the studio together next week because I have an idea about a song I want y'all to do together. There was no, oh, I'm pillow talking with you and telling you and promising you all these things about like someday when we get married and we're gonna have a mansion and we're gonna live, you know, in Antigua and we're gonna do this kind of stuff. He wasn't making the promises to her that people think he was. And Spirit saying he was kind of, you know, not only was he mean to her at times, because he definitely did put his hands on her. However, it's also like, I just spoke to you really like matter of the fact business, like, because I didn't want you getting ideas in your head. I didn't need to lie to you because you would still show up every day anyways. So, that's sad. Sana, I'm not sure. I'll have to look around and see if there's any. Do you guys have Hot Topic? Or is like Hot Topic shipped to you? Because that's a company that has a lot of shirts that they do that are like the band type shirts. If not, Amazon as well. So is there anything else that you can tell us about Kim and Biggie's Spirit? Thank you. He was so bad in relationships. And he was effed up about the things that he did to what's her face, Faith too. I mean, Faith was not fully on the up and up herself as well, but and even Charlie Baltimore, like, you know, there's a well-documented, talked about fight that they had that she threw all his shit out the window because she found out that he was talking to a bunch of other girls behind her back too, and that happened like I think like a month or two before he passed away. So, but listen, none of this is to drag Kim, because I think that, you know, obviously you have to have grown up in some sort of traumatic way to accept that type of behavior from somebody. And everybody at some point in their life, if they have dated, has been dumb for another person in one way or another. Maybe not to the extent that she was, but we've all done stupid shit or hung around in a relationship longer than we should have or whatever. So it's not to drag her, it's just being realistic that it's like he didn't treat her with the love and kindness and support that people, you know, make it seem like, because people always want to rewrite history. And it's like, but when did you ever see them together outside of a music video? He was never publicly claiming her or with her, you know. It really was just that he dragged her along for the ride. So it is what it is. But she went through some shit, obviously. So, because otherwise, if you grew up in a house with a dad who was very supportive and loved you all the time and everything, you'd been like, all right, like, you know, even if you were dumb to the point, the second that he married Faith, it would have been like, all right, you know what? I see it for what it is. I'm good. So, oh, Bubbles, it's been well documented that Biggie wrote for Kim. He wrote for Kim and he wrote for Cease. He wrote for most of the people in Junior Mafia and for a lot of other people that were on Bad Boy. And that's why, like, he was getting so pissed off about the way that whole situation was playing out with him and Diddy and why he wanted to get out of it, because, you know, today, like, for a lot of these celebrities in the entertainment industry, like, they'll tell you, like, Chloe Bailey even said it, like, there's more money in being, like, the writer, the producer, than there is in being the actual artist. And so that's why you see, like, people like Quavo and Future will write all these songs for other artists, because they're not making money off their own hits. They're making money off of the hit that they made for Beyonce or whoever else. And so, but Biggie wasn't getting compensated fairly for that stuff. If you watch Eugene Deal, who is Diddy's old, I just answered that when I was talking about their relationship, Taku. But if you watch Eugene Deal, he broke down a lot of that stuff. I don't really, like, when it comes to, like, the Tupac stuff that Eugene talks about, like, when he tries to, like, talk about it, like, he knows everything about Tupac, like, that's where it's like, you weren't even around Tupac. Like, if you're telling it from the perspective of, like, what happened with, like, Biggie and Puff's involvement in that, like, yeah, that you could be a trustworthy source, but sometimes he tries to speak like he was on Tupac's side of things too, or he kind of loses me. But he has exposed a lot of, like, what was really going around on and why, you know, what's his face, Big wanted to get away from Puff so bad. So yeah, if you guys didn't know, Taylor Swift does the same thing that Beyonce does, where she writes a part of the song and then gets a bunch of other people to collaborate on it. It's just that Taylor pays enough so that she can completely claim credit and ownership over the song, rather than, because you, like, say if somebody's selling you a song and it's like, okay, like, if I get credit for it, I get $100,000. But if Taylor Swift wants to claim that she completely wrote it, she can give me $300,000 up front, because then obviously I'm not going to be getting the royalties off of the song because I didn't get the credit for it and she completely bought it from me. So she does that. Not that Taylor's never wrote any of her own music or that she doesn't somewhat contribute to it, but she's not the only person writing all of those songs like she claims. So, oh my gosh, Shayna. All right, we're going to take a look at Faith now so that we can see what, because Faith is obviously going to come up again when we look at Tupac in a minute. So I was like, let's just kind of speed through her real quick and see, like, from Biggie's perspective, what this whole marriage and situation was like. Okay. They had a much better connection and relationship than he did with Kim, actually. But the thing is that Biggie, like Spirit saying, you know, if it was today, he would have been with those dudes that have the podcasts. A man can't stay monogamous, but a woman is supposed to, like, kind of bullshit, right? So, as far as, like, you know, that whole situation goes, though, it's like everything was good up until the point that she started realizing that Kim and other females were still in the picture. And Spirit saying for her, like, she kind of expected it because she was around the industry enough. But it was more so like, I can handle it if it's every once in a while. When, say, you got to go do a show in Minnesota and you hook up with a groupie in a hotel room afterwards, and you never talk to that girl ever again. Like, then I can handle it. But when it's, you're sitting here, you know, having full-blown affairs, continually seeing the same woman, that's when it's a problem to me. And Spirit is saying that he lied to her from the jump about Kim, because she always, like, suspected, like, there's something up with that situation. He was like, no. He even told her, like, oh, that's, you know, Puffy's messing with her. Oh, Lil Cease wants to get at her. Like, he was trying to pin Kim on everybody else. And it was like, Faith, like, obviously had her antennas up, because it was like, every time I mention her to you, you're telling me that, like, another dude in the crew is trying to smash her. And it's just like, as a woman, you know, anyways, but especially when it's like, why every time I bring this girl up, like, you're pinning her on somebody else. If you weren't lying, it would still be, no, that's Puff's girl, that's Cease's girl, Mace wants her, whatever. Not a new person every single time that she comes up. If she had not gotten pregnant when she did, though, this relationship would have ended up ending sooner, because he realized, like, I jumped into things way too quick. Both of them saw themselves as, like, this possible, like, the way that we look at Beyonce and Jay-Z these days of, like, the power couple of the industry. Both of them kind of got caught up in this energy, and while there was love there, because we've got the Ace of Cups here talking about there being some real love between them, it's also two extremely young people who were trying to find their way in the industry, both trying to make their careers pop, both having money issues, and not truly knowing who they were, being settled enough to be able to have made a marriage with anybody at that point in their lives work. And because of that, it's like, we would have ended up, like, breaking up, like, way sooner, you know, but we did try to make it work because there was a baby there. But eventually he just stopped trying. And then she got pissed and did what she did, and then they were just like done with each other. So your TMZ, if TMZ was smart, fair, and had taste and knew boundaries. But there was no love cards that came up when it came to Big and Kim. It was all, just, she wants to keep coming around, so I'm just going to disrespect her and treat her however and use her for my own benefit, whereas with Faith, it's like, I actually fell in love with this woman and did try to make a commitment to her, but then realized, like, I wasn't ready for that. So, you know what? I think when it came to Big, too, I think that because he was so stressed out about his career, about not having enough money, realizing that, like, Puffy was fucking him over, all the beefs that he found himself in with other people like Tupac, I think that he honestly was cheating so much to distract himself. Like, oh, well, I can't sit here and stress out about all the other shit if I'm chasing after a new girl tomorrow. So, what was her label? I'm pretty sure she was on Bad Boy for a while, too. They all had money issues. Like, that's the thing. They're all sitting up there talking about money and rapping about money, and it's all about the Benjamins and flashing money in the videos and stuff, but, like, Puffy wasn't paying none of them. I mean, I know Danity Kane said that they, like, only made, like, $2,500 each off of their first album. And he was constantly, he's, and there's been plenty of other artists of his that have come out over the years and been like, he wasn't paying us properly, or he would do certain things. Like, if you guys really want to understand, like, how, on a much deeper level, like, how these, like, music industry people really fuck up, like, their artists, watch the Lou Pearlman documentaries. Because that's exactly the same thing that Diddy and so many other record execs do to their artists. Like, oh, I take you out to dinner, but then I'm, paying for it up front, but then I'm tacking that on to your back end expenses. And so when you sell 12 million albums and you're expecting that you're going to get at least $1 million paycheck, well, then we had to pay for all the studio and recording time. That's $500,000. Then I bought you a Mercedes that cost $100,000. Then I took you on 28 steak dinners. That was another $20,000. I charged you for the pen that I used to write down the message when you called me. Like, they nickel and dime the F out of these people and tack it on to all of their back end stuff. And so then that's how they keep them from ever, like, making any money. And it's basically a slave contract, because now you're going to bust your ass even harder second, third, fourth album out to try to recoup and make this money, and you can't just walk away from us because you signed a contract. And so it's really, like, demonic when you think about it, because it's like they tie these kids in and they're so young, and that's why they love to get kids that are from the projects in the hood, because they don't know enough about money and contracts to understand, like, this is something really that could happen to me. That's why these 360 deals are absolute hell for people to be in. Because if you try to go make money outside of the record industry to try to make up for what you're not getting from your, contract and label and everything, they own your likeness. So it doesn't matter. You can do all the Walmart ads you want. Atlantic is going to get a cut of that at the very least. Yes, thank you, Lindsay. I couldn't remember the exact name of it. But, and they talk about all the different stuff that they do to them. I mean, yeah, and that's the thing, like, when you watch it, you'll be sick to your stomach, because NSYNC, look at how many albums that they sold. They were so freaking popular. Same thing with Backstreet Boys. They didn't even get like $10,000 to their names after everything was said and done. And they came back from their tours and wanted to go rent apartments and didn't even have the money or the credit to be able to do that. And Diddy does the same thing to his artists. So, and they're just, that's why, like, every time that these people sign a record label deal and they're like, oh my God, look, you know, like CMG signed Glorilla and they gave her a chain. Or Asian Doll just did that, right? That she got like some AP watch when she signed under somebody now. And I'm just like, yeah, and that you bought yourself that chain and you don't even realize it. Like, you think Gotti or the Dubai billionaire or whoever the hell else you signed to is the one that gave you that as a present. It's coming off your back end, and you're gonna end up owing them for that at some point. And guess what? If I'm gonna spend some like $100,000 on something, it sure ain't gonna be a fucking ugly ass chain. So that's why Ice Spice and Nicki are so smart that they didn't just jump to sign with the first person and really waited to have ownership of their stuff. So let's see what happens with Biggie and Charlie Baltimore, because that's who he was with when he passed away. Which, well, Britney was never in a 360, and she wasn't in a Lou Pearlman type of situation. She actually did have a really good deal as far as like how she was getting paid, especially as a new artist when she dropped. And that's, you know, why people are always like astounded, because they've said that between her actually being one of the few people in the industry that was getting paid for music, was able to actually make money from touring, was selling billions of dollars worth of perfumes, she should have been one of the first people that was declared a billionaire, both either off of music or the beauty side of things. It's the Lou Taylor and her dad and Larry Rudolph and the other people that ripped her off and stole from her, because it makes absolutely no sense why she's only worth 60 million. Like, they were saying that she should have took her cut of 60 million just from one tour. So yep, I just watched that the other day. The music industry death clause, you guys, is a really good one to watch too. They've been doing that since like the Jim Morrison, Janis Joplins of the world, who all passed away young in the industry. So, and this is the thing, Britney wasn't one of those people that was like, I'm gonna go buy a private jet and walk around dripped out in Gucci all the time. Like, that was why so many people liked her, because she was so down to earth and normal. Like, and she wasn't somebody that was constantly like just buying all this stuff that it, you know, like it wasn't an MC Hammer type of a situation where it's like you and your homies constantly wanting to go out to, you know, pop bottles in clubs and buy all these expensive fancy cars. Like, she wasn't that type of a person. Not that she didn't have nicer cars or whatever, but like people were saying Britney was more into like investing into real estate because she had like a bunch of properties at one point. And if you guys didn't know, and if you look into it, like they sold off some of her properties while she was in that conservatorship. And again, the records were sealed and people's like, where'd that money go? And did she agree to sell that property? Lou Taylor is a dirty, dirty bee. But like I always say, it's a little bit interesting that people said that $600 million went missing from Britney and Kylie Cosmetics sold for $600 million. So, anyways, moving on to Charlie Baltimore. Did you guys ever see like how Lil Kim, by the way, was acting at Biggie's funeral? Like, I always just think if I was Charlie or even Faith, it would have been so hard for me not to run up and clothesline that bitch. But especially being that Charlie was the one that was like officially with him in that time. Like, him and Faith had separated. They were getting their divorce. They were, you know, they knew it was over. The whole world knew he was with Charlie. Like, because I used to listen to Wendy Williams all the time. Sneak and listen to it sometimes, but I would. And she was always talking about Charlie and Biggie's relationship, because I remember her being like, I got a story that they were in a hotel fight and they trashed a room this weekend, and then it was like a month later he was gone. And because there was even rumors that he was having a baby with her at that point before he passed away. And so Kim was there acting like, oh my God, like Mary J. Blige was like dragging her down the damn sidewalk because she was literally acting like she was the wife, and Charlie just like kept her head down and walked in the church and walked back out again. Like, obviously she was upset, but she like kept herself composed. Same thing with Faith. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, just how, like, that had to be, like, the worst thing in the world to be the girlfriend and you're watching your man's ex-side chick be so fucking dramatic. And especially, too, for Faith, I would have been like, bitch, you're the reason why we ain't together. Like, I'm gonna drag you out of here. So, I just was thinking about that real quick since we were talking about them. Okay, out of all of them, Spirit is saying she was his favorite. Big really saw her in a really different light. Now, mind you, Spirit is saying at some point, Charlie would have left him too, because she's not Kim. She's not built that she was going to just stick around through whatever. And she, you know, did love him and he loved her, but Spirit saying that she just, you know, had more self-esteem than that, that it's like, I can forgive you 2 or 3 times, but after that, like, I can't. Like, I have my breaking point. But they did have a really happy life together while they were together. She was actually really going to help him pull himself out of this debt that he was in. Like, she was really good with money and she had a lot of good connections and she had a lot of good ideas. So if they had stayed together and he had lived, like, she's the one that would have got him, like, back in a better working situation and helped his career blow up even more, and really helped him to get away from Diddy and to get himself, like, in a situation where he was making a lot of money. And that's something that she was doing for him before they passed. It's just that he never got to make those moves, obviously, because Puffy found out about them and got rid of him. Also, side note, mind you, somebody else would not be able to be running around taking all the credit as, like, this big, amazing New York rapper, cough, cough, Jay-Z, if people like Biggie were still alive. Both him and Diddy have equally benefited from Big being gone. But, you know, she's showing up as the queen of coins, and Spirit saying out of all the women that he dated, he had the most respect for her, but they also had a lot of fun. Like, I hella respect you because you're really intelligent and business-minded, and on top of it, you're really talented. But, like, we can sit there and, like, make a whole business plan, and then after that, like, be on the floor, dying laughing, cracking each other up, being goofballs. So he really felt like she was, like, the whole package. It was the best relationship that he was in, and it made him the happiest because she just did. Like, she just brought something so different to the table that he didn't get in any of those other relationships that he had been in previously. But again, at the end of the day, he still had, you know, that proclivity to go out and do what he was gonna do. And so that would have ended up, you know, messing things up in the long run. But she would have at least got him back on track with his career. And, you know, to be honest with you, Spirit saying she's not a spiteful, hateful person. She would have seen it more as, while you hurt me with the things that you do, I just see that you're not at the maturity level that I'm at, and you're not able to, like, give me the type of relationship that I'm looking at for the long term. So she wouldn't have, like, been like, fuck you, how dare you, like, that I put you on and helped you come up, and you know, now we're not going to be together. Like, she would have just been like, obviously, like, this isn't the relationship for me anymore, but I'm glad that I got to help you be in a better place. And Spirit saying he would have made sure that she was always good in return. And they probably would have walked away being really good friends, and maybe even still, like, done business together. They just wouldn't have dated anymore. So, but she definitely was, you know, as much of the one as any of them would have been. Spirit saying he passed away before he ever would have grown up enough to have been able to really connect to a real true soulmate. And the girl that he would have ended up with would have been somebody like how we're seeing Kanye with Bianca right now, where it's like, who the heck is that girl and where did she come from? Like, it really would have been some quiet girl that, like, worked in the industry in one way or another, but, like, nobody really knew who she was, that he would have ended up settling down with. He wouldn't have ended up with, like, any celebrity girl, but he needed to sow his wild oats, and he needed to heal himself first. So, hey, we all need a Charlie mindset. Listen, Charlie threw all his shit out the window and gave him a black eye. So it's not like she was putting up with it. But she did an interview, I think it was either with the Art of the Dialogue or Vlad TV, and she talked about that too. Eugene Deal talked about it on the Art of the Dialogue, in his own channel. But she talked about it too, and she said that, you know, like, I was young, I'm not like that anymore. And she's just like, but I used to have a temper. She said she wasn't proud of it, that she should just left the room or left him. So I think she said she found like Polaroids that he took of himself, like messing around with other females, or Polaroids that like girls gave him of themselves. And I was just laughing because I was like, when you think about it, like back in 94, they didn't even have emails really to be sending nudes. Like, it's just silly to think about, like, that's how people sent nudes. Like, I'm going to give you an actual Polaroid picture. I mean, it's a lot easier these days to hide your dirt, right? So before we move on to Tupac, let's do another giveaway, guys. This one will be for a 20-minute reading. So again, pick a number between 1 and 30. I already wrote it down. Whoever gets it first, you win. And then I will ask you for your email address and send you an appointment link. Lorna got it. It's 27. Lorna, you win. Put your email address in the chat, and I will send you your appointment link. I'm giving away 6 free readings tonight, guys. So if you didn't win yet, you will still get one. And make sure that you are staying subscribed, because, oh, and if somebody can put my backup channel link in the, or my second channel, I guess you should say, in the comments. If you subscribe to the second channel and we get 1,000 subscribers over there, we will do a giveaway there as well. So congratulations, Lorna. And we will have merch next month, you guys. So that's maybe something that we do a giveaway with at some point as well. Just put up your email address real quick so I can write it down, hun, and then I'll delete it out of the chat. You guys, we already picked somebody. I'm waiting for her to put her email address so I can write it down and then send her the link later. No, Whitney is asleep right now. And I put her dinner in my room just in case if she woke up while we were on live, so she'll probably come out here in about 30 minutes, because she usually like wakes up from her nap first at like 3:30 and then 4 o'clock, because that's usually like 3:30 is usually when we get home from school pickup. So she wakes up and comes and greets us, and then she'll like kind of just be in this little sleepy, dazed phase and then go back to sleep again until about like 6:30. And then she'll be up for the evening. So I'll try to change her sleep schedule a bit. She's good at sleeping through the night though. But she just wakes up so early in the morning and then wants everybody else to get up with her. And she will come in and be like, Mom, 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 Mom. Because she meows, yes, no, mom, mama. So if you guys haven't ever heard like a cat mimic people in like really meow words, it's so freaking creepy when you really listen to it and you're like, oh my God, you're really doing that. What is our favorite scrubs and shower gels? I like the Tree Hut scrubs, but I do not like their new shower gels. And usually my favorite shower gel is any of the Soap and Glory ones or Pacifica stuff. I love everything that I've tried from Pacifica as far as body and skin care. So, Lorna, please remember to put in the chat your email address, hun, so that way I have a way to contact you. Or you can put your Instagram. Imperial on to Tupac. Spirit. You did? Let me see. I don't see it, hun. Put a space, like don't just put like lorna@gmail.com. You have to break it up or else I think YouTube is gonna block it because I don't see it anywhere, hun. So you could just put like whatever the first part of it, put space, don't put ad, and then just which email provider, if it's Yahoo or Gmail. You don't have to put the .com. Soap and Glory is like a what do you call isn't it like a UK brand? I thought it was. Okay, so let's take a look at the Mr. Tupac, and we'll start off with what really happened with him and Faith just real quick, and then we'll get into his relationship. I was just looking at Sana's comment. Sorry about that. You know what, Sana? I didn't like the method shower gels, so if you can't get them, don't feel bad. You didn't miss out on a whole lot. I know a lot of people like them. To me, I tried 3 different scents from them, and it just, I don't know if I got like the worst batch ever. They all smelled like the inside of the plastic bottle that they came in to me. So, okay. Well, this is the thing. Why, when I even was shuffling the cards, I hear Tupac's voice say, why would I even need to lie on my dick like that when I could have had any bitch I wanted back then? So, the thing is that Faith thought that she was gonna go and do what she wanted to do, and it's like, oh, like my husband, you know, he fucks everybody else, he doesn't treat me right, like I'm gonna do me. But then it's like she obviously regretted it because she realized that what she did was so grimy that it was like, now I gotta lie about it or pretend like you tried to make it so that, like, oh, like you're the one that tried to tell me, like, oh, you have to fuck on me if you want me to, like, you know, do this song with you. And she tried to turn it around and spin it in her own favor. So, and Ayana and Lorna, hopefully I don't regret this. Hopefully people don't try to fuck things up. Just email me, psychicbellalove@gmail.com. Ayana put 15-minute reading in the subject. Lorna put 20-minute in the subject line. Because I just have a feeling that YouTube is probably blocking stuff because they love to be annoying when it comes to everything, which I get it because, you know, there's so many of the spam bots that are like, come over here and, you know, look at my private chat or whatever shit. That's why I do subscribers only in the chat anyways. But I'm like, oh my God, like, come on, don't block everything. Like, especially if it's a subscriber only chat, like, can we freaking links? Like, stop being annoying. But that's what I was gonna say. If other people be trying to play with me, don't play with me, okay? Like I said last time, that's why I never gave away readings. Any reading giveaways that I've ever done, I don't do giveaway readings because of that. So this is a one-time only thing. Next giveaways will not be readings, guys. Just telling you that right now. And honestly, I hate to say it, but I don't know what it is, but sometimes people on YouTube are really freaking entitled. Like, not that people in general on social media aren't entitled, but like people on YouTube can be the worst of it for some reason. So I'm just like, they will get so, like, that's why we don't do requests anymore. Because, like, people will just, like, get mad and be, like, I had people literally slide in my DMs and cuss me out because I didn't do what they requested on a video already within 2 days of them leaving the comment. And that's why I was just like, no, like, I'm not encouraging this. This is BS. So I only do requests in Patreon now. You're gonna have to pay for it. If it's that important, you can pay for it. So the Patreon is definitely worth it though. I post every week. We have tons of mediumship readings with different celebrities in there. There's thousands of posts up, so okay. but it didn't go through. I don't know why it wouldn't go through, hun. Unless you just meant that you wanted to talk to me this week. And just a heads up, if you do want to talk to me, I am completely booked up for May. So, and if you do win today, you're going to have to be put on the schedule for June because I am completely solidly booked up. I always book up before we get halfway through the month, guys. So that's why. The sooner you want to talk to me, the sooner you book, the sooner you can make sure that you can get in a reasonable amount of time to speak. So, that's what emergency readings are for, hun. Otherwise, it is whatever is available. Because I always tell you guys at the beginning of every month, I'm going to be booked by the middle of the month because that's what happens. So, anyways, and we do still, if you don't win and you still wanted to get a reading, 20-minute, 30-minute, and 20 and 30-minute readings are on an extreme discount. It's public on the booking tab on the site. So head over to psychicbellelove.com to take advantage. You can book it out in advance, but those specials will end at the end of the month. It was just a part of the overall celebrating 6,000 subs that I did that. So going on to back to Pac, she definitely, like, this is funny because it's almost like Spirit told me to read this as he had the magic stick. But Pac had a way with the ladies. She couldn't resist. Again, she's mad at her husband because he keeps cheating on her and not treating her right. She's, out, and Spirit saying she went to LA with the intention that she didn't give a shit and she was gonna fuck whoever she wanted to while she was there. Like, I don't give a shit if I hook up with, you, Tretch, some random sound guy at the studio, some cute actor, whoever. Like, I was hot in the crotch and I was gonna get me some because she thought that it was going to make her feel better about her relationship and where they stood with things. And because of that, it's like, yeah, I was going to do my thing. But then there was not only the temptation of Pac is really, charismatic and cute, but also, I am so pissed at my husband. Here's the guy that he doesn't get along with. Like, yeah, fuck him. That's like, I'm drunk and that sounds like a great idea. Until you realize, well, now that just makes me look like the fucking worst wife in the entire world because two wrongs don't make a right, first of all. And also, he never really went and screwed my enemies to get back at me. He was just cheating to cheat because he's a guy. And so she instantly regretted it and wanted to cover it up. But there is the confirmation that, yes, they did do this. There's more people because she's been really trying to keep this from coming out forever, and spin her stories however she wants to. This tea will completely get spilled at some point. There's going to be more people that have been holding back and have not said anything, even though they knew the truth, that are going to come out and expose it. Spirit saying expect, because everybody gets to a certain age or a certain point in their life, and then they all do the memoirs and the the documentaries and whatnot and tell you like all the stories and stuff. Somebody is gonna do one of those that was there that night, and they're gonna say, yes, I know 100% that they, fucked around. And then other people are going to be like, well, she's telling the truth. And I don't know why this feels like it might be Mary J. Blige. I don't know if she was even there that night, but I feel like Mary J. Blige might have something to do with this, or she confirms it after the fact. Like, I didn't really want to say anything, and I tried to stay out of it for so long, but if so-and-so said it, they don't lie, and, like, co-signs the truth coming out in that sense, if that makes sense. So, listen, Tupac is so... I mean... Look, Jada still wants to get... Jada still hasn't gone over that man. Like, no, he was very cute, but on top of being super duper cute, he just had this, like, charisma about him that people fell in love with. And... like, Tupac was, like, such, like, a true Gemini in that sense, because when you get a Gemini that's really just comfortable with who they are the most fucking charismatic people that you just want to spend time with them and listen to their stories or be around them or be super interested in what it is that they're doing. Imagine how cool it would have been if we could have gotten Kanye and Tupac on a record together. I feel like those two would have made the dopest fucking music together. Oh, Jada's so annoying. And we're going to ask about that too real quick. Spirit. Can you please tell me about Jada and Tupac's connection? Thank you. You know what? I don't think I have any Gemini in my chart, but I am a Libra, and I just fucking love Geminis. I'm a Libra with a Virgo moon and a Sagittarius stellium, so I feel like I'm just, I don't know if it's the combination of those energies or what, but like I just always like, I love Geminis. I've never had an issue with them. I always get along with them so good. I know, could you imagine Watch the Throne with Jay-Z, not without Jay-Z, but with Tupac instead? Or I just keep thinking about like all the like dope ass like production that Kanye could have done for him, or I don't know, this would have been such a freaking vibe. They really do. Listen, a Gemini, when they love you, they will do anything for you. They really will. They'll be the most supportive people in the entire world. Oh, Sags and Libras are always like a really good match too. Like, I've never dated a Gemini. I just always like find myself like being really good friends with them, and I just like enjoy their like personalities because they have such big personalities, but like they tell it like it is, you know. But I love me some Sagittariuses too. My kiddo is a Sagittarius, so it's funny because every place in my chart that I have Sagittarius, he has Libra or Taurus in his. He's got a lot of Taurus in his chart too, and some Gemini. Okay. Spirit is saying, first and foremost, like, when it comes to, like, Jada and Tupac, number one, Jada wasn't even checking for Tupac like that, like, outside of friendship, back when they were, like, younger and hanging out and stuff. It wasn't until the last, probably Spirit saying like 10, 15 years of her life that all of a sudden her mindset and the way that she like presents however like things went between them like changed into this romanticized version of it. And it's more so where it's like, I realized I was very unhappy with my own life, and I wasn't happy with my husband's. But instead of just understanding why that was and what I could do to change it, all of a sudden she has herself convinced that Tupac was the one that was supposed to be her soulmate, that she was really supposed to end up with him, and that her life sucks because he passed away and they never got to be together the way that she wanted. So it's like everything changed, and that's not how it was in real life. It was literally after, 15 years after this man passed away. Now, then you change your mind, and now it's a completely different story. And listen, you have to be a delusional woman to sleep with your son's best friend, okay? Like, come on. That's just gross to me. I mean, it's like, I don't care even if you are somebody who would typically date like younger men. If your kid is friends with this person and they bring them home, like, I don't know. It's just, to me as a mom, I can't even think of it like that way, like, if that makes sense, number one. And like, any child that my son has brought home as his friend, I automatically feel like I'm a second mom or an auntie to this child. And now it's my job to protect them the same way that I would any other family member. So it's like, I just can't understand how somebody can be like, oh, you're friends with my kid, and then look at them like that. Like, no, like, you should have been looking at him like that was your nephew or something, you weirdo. So Jada's a weird person, okay? And this is the thing as far as things go, like, for how Pac felt about her. He was really proud of her. Like, wow, look, like, we're two kids that came from pretty bad circumstances, because both of them had mothers that suffered from addiction issues and didn't grow up wealthy or like with dads, around and all of that stuff. And so Spirit is saying, like, he really looked at it like, this is like somebody that I grew up with, my childhood friend. It was more of like a best friend type thing. And I was so proud of you and happy and enamored because you were able to do something with yourself. And I assumed that you felt that same thing in return when it came to me. Like, can you believe, like, we grew up together and we're both like making it and living our dreams and able to rise above our circumstances. And Spirit saying Pac really thought like at some point he and Jada would circle around, not in that sense, but to use their money and influence to like open up a performing arts school or a community center or do something together for the youth, for kids who grew up in, or were in the same circumstances that they grew up in. And it's like, we can say, hey, look, I used to be in your shoes and now here I am, and let me teach you some things. Let me support you. But he was never looking at her like, we're going to get married or I have any real romantic feelings for you like that. And Spirit is saying that because Pac was such a naturally flirty person, like most air signs are, us air signs and fire signs too sometimes, like people think we're flirting and it's like, oh, I wasn't romantically interested in you. I was just being nice to you, and that's just how I am. Like, I call everybody babe, or I tell everybody I love them, but like, and I do love you, but not like, oh, I'm in love with you, love you. Like, Spirit saying it's easy for people to look at old letters and misconstrue what he was meaning and put a romantic attachment behind it. But if you actually like read the stuff that he wrote Jada and then read what he actually wrote to women that he genuinely was in love with, you would see that there was a very clear difference in the communication styles. So she definitely has weaponized Tupac against her husband. I mean, Spirit saying, first and foremost, you know, it's like Jada has really turned emasculating Will and making him feel like he's not enough of a man into a real fucking art form. And because of that, it's like, you know, she really has damaged that man. And she does have a real way where it's not, because Spirit's saying it's not like she sits there and yells at him like, you know what, well, fuck you, you're a little sissy bitch or anything like that. Like, she just has a very manipulative and condescending tone to her voice, and the way that she speaks to him that gets under his skin. And so there would be comments of like, oh, well, I bet if Tupac was here, he wouldn't do that. I bet if Tupac was here, that would have happened. You know, and it was just enough to constantly put it in his head of, oh, well, you know, that guy was much more of a man than you'll ever be, and just to keep him super insecure. So, which, that's my whole thing with her. It's like, you obviously hate that man. Break up with him and set him free. I mean, I know for some people at some point, you know, and I've talked about this before, it's like they become a brand more than a marriage, and their lives are so intertwined, like financially and whatnot, that it makes it so hard for them to be able to move on. But then you look at Jennifer Lopez. That girl's made music and movies and brands with every man that she's been married or engaged to, and she still finds a way to separate herself from them. She had hella businesses that she was like had started or were starting with A-Rod, and she still broke up with him. So, but anyways, I was like, now let's take a look at him and Kidada real quick, because honestly, my medicine is wearing off, and I was like, at some point, I'm not going to be able to talk anymore because my face swells up so bad. So, what we're going to do, guys, is if we don't get to it, then, because Whitney Houston will be last. If I can't get to her, I'll do a separate video for her and post it this week. But I know that's the crazy thing, but if you don't notice, like, how many people were always saying that Jay-Z and Beyonce were couple goals until Lemonade came out? I mean, that's why, like, never, ever, ever think that somebody else's situation is better than yours, because it certainly is not. You know, you never know what's going on behind closed doors. You only know what the part that they're allowing you to see. So, I know, that's the thing. Actually, it was her sister, Rashida, was the one that was best friends with Aaliyah. But it's also kind of funny to think about how Kidada's sister was besties with Aaliyah, seeing is that, if you guys didn't know, If Your Girl Only Knew, that song was about Tupac. Because he was all, like, I guess, like, at one point, he tried to talk to Aaliyah, but she found out that he was dating somebody else. It wasn't Kidada, though. This was before Kidada happened. But that's where that song's inspiration came from. I think, oh, you know what it was? When he was dealing with, what's her face, from TLC, Left Eye. Because Left Eye and Tupac almost got together. And it's when he was talking to her, he was also trying to get at Aaliyah. And Aaliyah made that song about him. And then, you know, him and Left Eye didn't end up getting together because Left Eye was seeing somebody else and he found out about it. So that's what's funny. He tried to play her, but he got played in the end by both Aaliyah and Left Eye anyways. So that is kind of funny when you think about it. Like, that backfired on him so hard. So I forget. I think it was somebody that she was dealing with. Like, he found out that was a naughty by nature. So, yeah. That, dude, if people think that the industry is wild now, like, it's wild in the sense that everybody's, like, walking around butt naked and, like, worshiping Satan openly. But, like, the drama and the shenanigans and the who dated who and the who was this song about and who had beef was way more interesting in the 80s and the 90s. And the early 2000s. Like, that was, like, a way more interesting era. So, this is the thing. Kidada and Tupac never would have ended up married. Spirit saying Pac wanted so badly to change his life before he passed away. It has, like, come out from people that are reliable sources, but again, it hasn't been confirmed, that he was telling people that when he came home from Vegas that he wanted to, like, squash all of his beefs and, like, have, like, a do-over and get along with people and just really, like, switch up everything. That he was just kind of, you know, had been leaning into stuff so much, like, as far as, like, the beefing with people and the shit talking and the, you know, gammon gangsta and all that, because it's what blew up his career, number one, because people were trying to mess with him. So he felt like he had to, like, you know, kind of show everybody, like, don't fuck with me because I will fuck your ass back up. And on top of it, you know, like, I was, you know, involved with death row. And so, like, that was their whole steez too. So I had to fit in with that. But it's like, I was just tired of that. I was so over it. And so he wanted to move on from that. He really wanted to make, like, positive changes in his life. And I feel like him dating Kidada in the first place and then wanting to get married to her it's almost the same way that I've said before. Like, Ben Affleck, like, dates women who don't party. They're not drinkers. They're not gamblers. Because it's like, well, I can't do all of that shit if I'm with you. So I have to, like, you know, I have to calm down in order to make this relationship work. And it feels like that's what Pac was doing. Like, I gotta calm down in order to make this relationship work. And he did love her, but this is the thing. He was cheating on her the entire time. There was always other women that were around. And he was worried, though, about how can I end this, seeing as that your dad is Quincy Jones. Your dad is one of the most powerful people, you know, at that time in the industry. Like, he was scared that it was gonna have a negative effect. Like, is he gonna blackball me? Is he gonna fuck with my career? Like, how do I exit from this? Because he already knew, I don't think that I want to stay with this girl long term. There's somebody else that he was already like developing feelings for that was around him that nobody has ever talked about or brought up. And I feel like Spirit's saying this is a girl that it's like the last person that anybody would have expected. Pac was in love with her. Like, she was somebody that had always like sort of been around. Everybody knew her. She was a homie. She wasn't like a musical artist. She wasn't somebody that was like super duper duper well known. I feel like she worked for the labels in some capacity. But he would look at her and think, that's the girl that I'm supposed to be with. But I don't feel that they had done anything with each other. And she really loved him back. But he wanted to extricate himself from this relationship with Kidada, get his shit together, and then pursue the other woman. But obviously, the Spirit's saying this is one of the few times to read it as the actual death card ending things. And, yeah, they wouldn't have ended up together, though. And there was nothing, like, Spirit saying Kidada kind of bored him in times, and he felt like she was a little bit flighty sometimes. But also, she had a tendency to be a little controlling. Like, don't do that. Don't wear that shirt. Why are you talking like that? Like, she would kind of nitpick at him. And especially once they did get engaged, he started feeling like, oh, like, damn. Now I'm seeing who you really are. Like, now you're comfortable with me. So now you're picking at everything I do. Now you're complaining about everything that I do. Now it's don't hold your fork that way. Don't wear that shirt. Pull up your pants. But like, you were cool with all of this before that. And that was also like, he took it as confirmation of this isn't who I'm supposed to marry, because the person that I'm supposed to like really spend my life with is gonna love me consistently, and they're not gonna switch up on me later. So, hey, listen, her dad had to be one of the ones that gave the okay for him to not be here anymore. So, not that he was the head one. I mean, he was one of, because listen, on top of everything else, the industry is like the mob or a gang, and whoever's at the top has to still give the okay. You know, you still got to run certain things by Tony Soprano. And he had to okay for him to be out of here and for that hit to be carried out. So, you know, in the end, she can thank her daddy too. Tupac is not still alive. I wish to God that I could say that he was, but he is not. I really wish I could say that he was, because I think that that would be, you know, and again, I have a whole Patreon covering conspiracy theories, and I don't just automatically be like, no, that's not true about everything. But that is one thing that you have to join the Patreon for the rest of that tea taco. I can't spill it over here. I still have to protect my own self, so that's why I don't spill everything on YouTube. Plus, there's way too much censorship on this platform. But I have covered who is behind all of these people's passings in the Patreon. But yes, Sana, but it's just, It's a mess. So anyways, guys, before we move on to Miss Aaliyah, and then we'll wrap it up there, and I'll do Whitney Houston separately this week because I have been on for 2 hours already. So pick a number between 35 and 70. Because I've got it here. I wish I could say that Tupac and Michael Jackson were still alive. I really wish I could. But I really, really wish I could. And whoever wins this one, you get a 20-minute reading. Oh, Ronette got it. Ronette won. I was like, dang, it took a minute for y'all to like get it too. It was Ronette. Ronette, I already know how to get a hold of you, so I'll send you the link. And you guys, whoever wins, you'll get your links either tonight or sometime tomorrow. So, alrighty. Hey, I'm glad everybody is showing up. Congratulations, Ronette. Alrighty. So who do you guys want to look at beyond Dame and Dash when it comes to Aaliyah? Because I will definitely look at Dame. No R. Kelly anything. Oh, I'm sorry. It was 50. It was 59. No R. Kelly anything, guys. I'm just going to tell you right now. I legally cannot and will not ever speak about R. Kelly on any platform. And that's as much as I will say. But like literally, legally, I cannot. We never ever look at him, and I don't want to anyways. So let's see. I'm gonna ask about Dame Dash first. Okay, Spirit, please tell me, what is the truth behind the relationship with Aaliyah and Dame Dash? Thank you. How did she see their relationship and feel about him? Thank you. Dude, he says the weirdest shit about her these days. Like, do y'all remember when he said some crap about, what was it that his new girlfriend, like, channels her spirit on how to please him or something? I was like, oh, like, you just lost your goddamn mind, didn't you? Like, what? I mean, and listen, some of us have lost boyfriends, girlfriends, myself included, that passed away. Stop making us all seem like we're fucking crazy and we can't move on with our lives, because then people are afraid to date us because they're like, oh, you're gonna compare everything I do to your ex-boyfriend that you're gonna say was the love of your life and never did anything wrong, and I'm gonna be the asshole constantly. And it's like, Dame and Jada really be fucking shit up for us sometimes. So, yeah, he said some weird shit about, I can't remember if it was like sexy or like if it was just about like how to like be a better girlfriend to him, but it was just weird in general. And when he was saying it, the girl was sitting there like a fucking hostage victim, and she was like, and you could tell that she was like, I'm just going along with this shit because he's making me agree with him. They're like, girl, cough 3 times and turn your head to the side if you need us to rescue you from this weirdo. And that's what sucks, you know. I mean, listen, again, I am a big proponent of the truth is the truth, and I don't give a shit who tells the truth. Like, if Donald Trump says something that I'm like, that's some real shit, and that's actually true, like, I'm gonna give him credit for that, and I can't stand that man otherwise. But sometimes it does suck because it's like, Dame Dash really does have some real truths to share about the industry and about certain people in the industry. But then he does weird shit like that, and then nobody wants to take him seriously when he's exposing Jay-Z and Leor Cohen and people like that, because they're like, well, you make your girlfriend talk to your dead ex-girlfriend, so we can't believe you. And it's like, come on, guys. So if I said it on Station Head, you can put it in the chat, Mimi, because I mean, obviously Station Head was a public place. I am not on Station Head though, guys. Don't go looking for me over there. I am only on YouTube, Instagram, and Patreon. So again, this is another situation where it's like they would not have ended up together if she had not passed away. Because I don't know if y'all realized, if you go back and look up the timelines, he already had Rachel Roy pregnant when he was still messing with Aaliyah. And Spirit is saying, you know, when people want to keep, again, this is part of the where people want to rewrite history that gets annoying. So I don't know if you guys have never or have heard this, that there is a rumor that the reason she was so ready to hurry up and go home, or was in a rush to go home when she passed in that plane crash, was that supposedly people were calling and telling her that Dame had been in a car accident and was on life support. Spirit is saying it was not that Dame was in a car accident and on life support, but that somebody told her that she needed to check her man because he had somebody else out pregnant in these streets. And that's why she was in a rush to go back home to confront him and deal with that. Not because she thought that he was in a hospital bed laid up dying somewhere. So, but they definitely, you know, that was a part of the whole setup shit. But on the same token, it was true also. So they would have broken up regardless, because obviously Rachel Roy was keeping that baby. And it would have came out that, like, hey, you know, I'm about to have another kid and it's not with you. And she would have found out about a bunch more lies of his, because there was other men and women around her that wanted to like break them up. Spirit saying some of the people that were around her, they wanted them to break up, but not in this like hater jealousy way. It was more so about, you can do so much better than this dickhead. He's a player. He's not even cute. You know, like, why are you with him? Like, we could see you with somebody so much better for yourself than that. So it's like people around her like didn't feel like that was a good relationship for her to be in and didn't support it for that reason. Whereas other people were just like, he's not the super nice guy that you think he is. He's a dick. And so, you know, and then of course he did have some haters that were like, well, why would she pick him? I'm hotter than him. I want to date her. Like, I hope somebody blows his shit up so that she becomes single so I can shoot my shot. But this is the thing that Spirit's saying. Aaliyah wasn't in a rush to hurry up and settle down with anybody either at that point in her life. She was just kind of vibing out and seeing like, are you cool? Are you cool? Like, she was really just dating. And a lot of times, like, people will say, like, oh, well, she was around Jay-Z first, and then she was around this person, and she was around that person, and she was around this person. But Spirit's saying, just because she was around them doesn't mean that she screwed every single last one of them. Like, she had conversations. She went and hung out with them at a club one night. They had a dinner. It was like, I'm getting to know you and seeing, like, are you somebody that I would want to go spend more time with and then possibly date after that? But I didn't go fuck all these people. I wasn't in a relationship with all of them. I was a young girl and just trying to figure out, what kind of guy do I even like? Do I even want to deal with any of these industry dudes? Maybe I want to go date an actor. I don't know. And so she wasn't taking any of these guys seriously. And on top of it, Spirit saying, like, you know, again, we're not reading on him, but it's like she had enough experiences between R. Kelly and being in the industry young that she knew these guys will all come for you like a pack of fucking drooling wolves in heat. But doesn't mean they all have good intentions. Not all of them are great people. And so therefore, like, I'm not gonna really truly trust any of them either. So she was just kind of feeling everybody out and trying to play it smart, but she wasn't like in this big rush to hurry up and like get married and get pregnant. She was more so just trying to establish her career, because Spirit's saying that she really saw herself actually moving away from the music industry and way more into the acting side of things, and that she would have ended up becoming more of a full-time actress at some point. And Spirit saying she probably actually would have ended up dating an actor or a director or somebody on that side of the entertainment industry and settling down with somebody like that, not with somebody that was on the music side of stuff. And Dame, they're saying, completely over exaggerates the same way that Jada, you know, the revisionist history and the delusion of, I can get all of this attention by acting like soulmate, you know, Aaliyah or Tupac or whoever was my soulmate, and that our relationship was so deep and so serious and so long. Tupac and Jada never even dated. And like, what's his face? Dame and Aaliyah, they weren't even dating for a super long time anyways. It was like 5 months. So it wasn't like, you know, and at the time he was obviously still dealing with other females and got somebody else pregnant. So how serious really truly could that have been? So, well, that's the thing. So it's just, you know, Teddy, that's asking me to do a mediumship reading on her that I'm not doing right now because I told you guys I got to kind of start to move this along and get off of here. But let's do 2 more reading giveaways and then I'll do the very last one to end it. So, alrighty. Pick a number between 25 and 55, guys, and you will win a 3-question video reading. Disney Freak, you won. Disney Freak won. It was 43, guys. So let me see. Just email me, psychicbellalove@gmail.com, and put 3-question reading in the subject, and then I'll send you the link to your appointment. Congratulations. Oh, awesome. Well, just email me, babe, and we will go from there. And then this one will be for a 5-question email reading. So pick a number between 1 and 20, guys. One and 20, you guys. Lindsay got it. It was 13. And I already know how to get a hold of you, Lindsay. Okay, it was number 13. Lindsay got it first. So let's ask a couple more quick questions about Aaliyah, and then as we wrap up, we will do the last one, which will be a past life video reading. So, and thank you all once again for 6,000 subs. Thank you to my mods who have been rocking with me as well. I appreciate and love all of you. So let's see. Spirit, what's the truth about the situation between Jay-Z and Aaliyah? Thank you. Okay, listen, I'm just going to channel Spirit on this because I don't need cards anyways. And I barely ever look at them, even in the lives and stuff. Okay. Let me just tell you, when it comes down to Aaliyah and Jay-Z, what Spirit's saying is Aaliyah felt very uncomfortable by Jay-Z. Like, at first she was into it a bit. However, then she started really realizing some stuff about him. Like, people were telling her, like, be careful with him. He's got all these ties to, like, bad people. He used to do drugs. He stabbed his own brother, you know, whatever the stuff is. And she started getting really nervous and scared. And it was like, as she's realizing this isn't somebody that I want to pursue anything with, the more that he was laying it on thick and trying to get with her. So what Spirit's saying is a part of her also trying to get Jay-Z to back up off of her was leaning into Dame Dash. If I'm dealing with your homeboy, don't guys have this bro code that they'll never ever break regardless of whatever is, you know, going on between them? And so therefore, if I'm dealing with your homeboy, you're going to have to back up off of me out of respect and out of bro code. And so it's like Jay kind of shoved her more into Dame's universe, but she never really dated Jay-Z. It was just more like I would go to certain places and he would be all over me, and then people would take pictures about it and talk about it later. And people were, you know, he was sending me flowers. He was trying to get my number. He was trying to call me. He was trying to ask me on dates, but like, I wasn't dating him. It was just him trying to get with me. So, and it's really because he thought that, you know, they were going to be some kind of a power couple. And that's Spirit saying that she sensed that too. Like, I don't even think that you're trying to get at me for like a genuine reason of like, oh, Aaliyah seems like a cool person and I want to get to know her and spend time with her. Like, she felt like you are only trying to get at me because you look at me as like, oh, well, this would be like, you know, good business. It would look good for you, like it would elevate you, but like I want to be with people that I love. Like, I don't want to date somebody just because it's like, oh, well, that would look good and we would get some money out of it. So anyways, there was never a real like, oh, I actually dated Jay-Z first type of a situation. It's Jay-Z tried to get at me at the same time that Dame was, and I just dated Dame, you know, instead. So as far as her not getting along with Missy Elliott and Timbaland before they passed away, because they tried to be her handlers and control her and get her deeper into the Illuminati stuff, and so she didn't want to be a part of that, and she backed up away from them because of it. It's like, that's just the most simple, easy way to say it. So where was Kidada at this time? I don't know what you're talking about, babe. Unless you mean Kidada, but Kidada wasn't the one that was really good friends with Aaliyah. It was her little sister, Rashida. And Kidada went into hiding after Pac died. And when what's his face? When Pac tried to get at Aaliyah, it was before him and Kidada got together anyways. It was back when he was going back and forth with Left Eye. So if you guys haven't already, make sure that you like the video, because it is a free way to support the channel. I know. I liked Missy's music too. Listen, that was a vibe and an era. The whole Missy and Timbaland thing, like when you think about it, sometimes just as much as the groups of artists that we had out at the time made that era of music good, it was also the people that were producing everything. Because when you think about it, Like when Kanye was like the big producer that was putting out music for a lot of different people, you know, even when he very first started putting out his own music, that was such a vibe. Like Timbaland, you know, put out such good music and produced such good music for so many people, from his own self to Aaliyah to Justin Timberlake. Like even Scott Storch and Dr. Luke and David Guetta, like having a really good producer really can mean everything in terms of like bringing out the best of like a certain artist. Because that was the thing that people always like really liked about Kanye when he was doing production, was that they said that he was really good at pinpointing where somebody's strengths were, understanding their voice, and crafting the songs to really bring out the best in that artist. So that's why the tracks were so fire. And they said the same thing about like Timbaland, that and Kanye and him are supposedly both like super duper picky. Like they will tweak and tweak and tweak and tweak and tweak a track, even a little teeny, not even an entire second part of a drum, until they make it absolutely perfect, because they don't want there to be any little thing that'll throw off the song. And, you know, I wish some of these new people would understand that and maybe get them some good producers or something on top of good writers and whatever. I don't know. So Dark Child, right? Pharrell, like it's just everything. So all right guys, this is our last giveaway. This is for a past life video reading. Pick a number between 1 and 30. Whoever gets it first gets the past life video reading, and then we will be done, and I will do a separate video coming up on Whitney Houston's love life instead, because like I said, we've been on for 2.5 hours and I need to go take more medicine. Okay, hold up. Somebody got it. Let me see. Clarity, you win. Email me, psychicbelllove@gmail.com, and tell me, put in the subject line, past life video reading. It was number 17. Clarity got it first. Oh, Ryan Leslie. Yeah, like he made a bunch of good bops too. So okay, guys, so we will be live again next Saturday. Hopefully my sinus infection is all cleared up by then. Congratulations to Clarity. So I already did a bunch of readings on Kanye on this channel anyways, babe. I'm taking a break from him, but I do not accept requests outside of the Patreon. I did, in celebration of 6,000 subs, lower the prices on Patreon for both the request tiers and the regular access tiers. So you can go to patreon.com/psychicbelllove. If you didn't win a reading tonight and you would like to book one, we do still have discounted readings available for 15, 20, and 30 minutes. That ends at the end of the month. But you can go to psychicbelllove.com in order to book one. Mind you, I am all booked up for the rest of the month, so you will have to book for June. Anytime you want to speak to me, guys, don't wait until I have availability, because it never works that way. I get booked up before the month is even half over. So if you know that you're going to want a reading, just book it. I'm not suddenly going to have a bunch of availabilities. If you want to be able to speak to me within 48 hours, though, you can always book an emergency skip the line appointment, which does guarantee you to speak to me within 48 hours. Also, this is the last month I will be doing mediumship readings for clients until either the end of the year or maybe even possibly the beginning of next year. So if you wanted to book one of those, you can use code MOM and get 35% off. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until I offer them again. Make sure you like the video on the way out. Thank you guys so much for getting us here. We will have merch coming next month. Also, we will do another giveaway at 7,000 subs on this channel, and then on the backup channel, Psychic Bell Love Podcasts. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we will go live and do some giveaways on that channel as well. And I did post some content on that channel this week, so make sure you check it out. I had so much fun with you guys. I'm sorry I'm sick. I wish I could stay on longer, but my face hurts so much, so I gotta go take more medicine. I love everybody. Thank you for joining us. If you did win, make sure you email me, psychicbelllove@gmail.com. If you didn't win, like I said, there will be more chances. I love everybody, and I hope everybody has a good one.